Today on Bock Chicken Fantasy, Underdog has projected season totals for every single player in every single position. We're going to go through that and find the value for the quarterback position and where that value lies. Let's get it. First thing to get out of the way, this is like Pirates Code. They're more like guidelines, really. They're to help you figure out where the value would be, and we'll go through it depending on what kind of draft style you're going for. You like zero RB? You like double RB? You like anchor RB? When you're trying to figure out when you should draft a quarterback, that's all this is for. Underdog provides for each round and each player how many points for the season total they'll have. I've averaged that out per round, and this kind of helps you see and gives you visibility to what that looks like per teardrop, if you want to call it that, per each round. And we'll start at the very top. The stud quarterbacks. So you're going to have your Lamar Jackson, your Josh Allen, your Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts. When you average them together, it's roughly 20.65 points per game. I do understand they do more than that. I understand they do less than that. And again, everyone has their own takes on each of these different, quarterbacks going in each round, and some are higher and some are lower. This is not my personal takes. This is really just to help you understand what Underdog is telling us, where they think all these quarterbacks kind of line up, and then where we've drafted them and they've ended up. So with that being said, the first tier, the highest tier, like I just said, the Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, is that round 4. They're 20.65. From there, when you go down to a round 5, round 6, it's negligible. In my personal opinion, some may feel different looking at this data and go, oh man, 1.24 fantasy points less per game is huge. And it may be some people. For me, it's negligible. So if I'm doing like per se a 2 RB, that's kind of how I feel. Like I like that style, or 2 quarterback, I apologize. 2 quarterback. I'm going to take my first one probably round 4, 5, 6, maybe round 8, since that's pretty close. Probably 4, 5, 6. I want a stud quarterback for sure. And then my second, I'm probably going to take somewhere around the 9 through 13, right? Again, that's all going to depend on how you stack your players, how you try and, who you draft in round 1, 2, 3, and 4, wide receiver wise, running back wise, tight end wise. You try and stack your quarterback with them. So maybe your quarterback doesn't fall there. But typically for me personally, I try, if I'm doing like a 2 quarterback, I'm going to get them in the first 3 rounds available that you can get a quarterback. Whereas if I'm doing like a 3 quarterback draft, because I like to have that, I push that towards the end. So I may not take my first quarterback until round 10. 11, somewhere in that range, and then get 2 more at the very end, or somewhere, again, within that 9 through 13 range, more like 10 through 13 range. That's my personal preference. Maybe not yours, right? Everyone's completely different, and that's fine too. But for me, as I break this down, the first tier is going to be round 4. If you want to put that by itself, great. Then you got 5, 6, 7, and 8, I believe is to be the next tier. You see that drop off in round 7. There's only one quarterback there. It's Kyler Murray. I feel like he should be stronger than that. Again, that's Underdog's take. You may have a different take on Kyler. Maybe you think he's worse. Maybe you think he's better. Totally fine. No problem. But probably should be closer to the rest of the guys in those tiers there. Somewhere in the 18 points per game, 18.5, kind of like round 8. So that would be your second tier, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then from there, it drops off pretty good. It's almost 1.5 per down. So that's your 9 through 13, basically. That's where a majority of the quarterbacks are. And then when you get to like the 14 through 18, that's your Derek Carrs, that's your Daniel Jones, that's all the rookies, the J.J. McCarthy's, things like that. So depending on how you like to formulate that, this is how it's laid out. You can see the graph on the right, and that kind of shows you how it flows down. And then as we get into the other positions, the running backs, the tight ends, the wide receivers, and I have them all together, you'll see how much of a difference is and like in value and where you should take some of those players in regards to your quarterback. And maybe some of it surprised, some of the data really surprised me. I didn't realize it was that much of a difference, but we'll get into that as well. Thanks for stopping by. I'll have the running back video up soon enough. You'll be able to check that out and kind of see the same disparities that you have with the quarterback and check out the values there. Thank you again.